never forget that day that I was at work and a gentleman walked in and served me with divorce papers. Like I said, I kind of wanted to get caught, but I didn't know that she was having me followed. I started scrambling and trying to find an attorney to find out what that meant to me. And at 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon, good luck finding an attorney. So it was a pretty brutal weekend.
I was just caught off guard by this entire situation. I was devastated and very worried about the future. The whole situation was a complete whirlwind.
One thing I knew is that what I thought I wanted, I instantly did not want. I did not want a divorce, and I did not want to be apart from my wife and kids. I didn't know what I had to do, but I knew I had to put this family back together. I had to save this marriage. The bad thing was that I didn't change anything. And when you don't change anything, then you're just setting yourself up for failure. But I didn't know how to change at that point. I didn't even know how I'd gotten myself into this situation. I just knew that I didn't want a divorce, and quite frankly, I couldn't afford a divorce. After about 3 months of just pleading and us being apart and both just being really scared to death, not knowing what to do without each other or how to make it on our own, we did reconcile, and she decided to give me another chance. And of course, that created us going to counseling, and we tried that for a while. But if I'm being completely honest, I knew deep down in my heart that nothing had really changed. I was just really trying to keep from
The
being
next
in
couple of years were just a bit of a struggle. On the outside, looking in, we looked like we put everything back together and everything was going okay, but not many people knew the things I struggled with on the inside. We started going back to church, and that was a big deal to me, and I felt like that would be the thing that would hold us together. But if I'm being honest, on Mickey's part, it seemed more like it was going through the motions rather than really having a personal relationship with Christ. We tried counseling, we did a few things here and there, but didn't do a whole lot of work on our marriage. And it only took about 2 years, and I started feeling that same separation again. During this time, we had our third daughter, and so now I had 3 little girls, and the weight of everything started to just take over again. I couldn't even believe what I had just heard. I was so angry inside, and I felt like I had spent my entire life trying so hard in a marriage that was just destined for failure. And I felt like I didn't have anything else to give this relationship. I was very concerned about the effects divorce would have on my children. I was also concerned about the example I was setting for them staying in a relationship that was so obviously unhealthy. To do that to show that I respected myself. I knew the mountain that I was about to have to climb because I had partially climbed it before. And I was devastated, but I moved forward. And from the moment I asked Mickey to leave, there was no option for turning back as far as I was concerned.
I can't believe what I've done at this point. I've been exiled from my home for the second time, and this time I know it's real. That feeling of going and actually signing the lease papers on a new apartment, and those first few nights in that apartment were the darkest, deepest times of my life. If you're contemplating it, or if you've never been through it, I can tell you that when you're 3 miles away from your house and you don't have the opportunity to tuck your own children in bed, it's one of the most humbling, heartbreaking experiences you'll ever experience.
Such a sense of emptiness. You know, the big, exciting, you're free from all that I was expecting to feel wasn't there. And, you know, I kept thinking, well, maybe it'll come in a couple months. Maybe it'll come in 6 months. And as time passed, you know, I continued to feel very empty inside.
I had contemplated this moment for a lot of years, and there were days that I thought it's what I wanted. But I really knew deep down in my heart that I loved my wife, but I had this void that I was always trying to fill. And I had opened 3 companies. I tried to fill it with work. I tried to fill it with money. I tried to fill it with friendships. I tried to fill it with playing cards way too many nights a week. And I obviously had tried to fill it with outside relationships. So here I was divorced. Isn't this what I wanted? Didn't I have the world at my fingertips now? Couldn't I do whatever I wanted to do and be with whoever I wanted to be with? Why was I so miserable? Because that void, it still remained. And so time went on, and every few months I would email my now ex-wife. I would call her, I would try to reach out to her on occasion. Drinking the night before and partying with my friends. I just felt overwhelmed with emotion, unlike that I had had before. And I remember looking in the mirror that morning and staring at myself, and I looked like death walking. Too little sleep and too much alcohol, and I just felt God speak to me. And I felt Him ask me what I was doing with my life and what kind of example I was setting for my kids, even though I didn't feel that they knew this guy. And I remember I started weeping. And something changed that day. I couldn't wait to get back to South Carolina. I couldn't wait to get home. And when I did, I knew that I had to change and things around me had to change. And I started shedding things from my life that I knew wasn't healthy. And in my own way, I started seeking God. Now, did that mean that next Sunday I was a model Christian and I never went out again? No, it didn't mean that, but it did mean that I had a change in my inner spirit. And I knew that I had just started looking for something different. I started looking for people and relationships that would be healthy to me and to what I was going to obviously have to establish as my new family life.
And I think the anger drove me through those years. But when I finally started dealing with the situation at hand, I realized that the only thing that could fill that emptiness for me was Christ. And I made Him a priority in my personal life during that time. I remember I made time every morning to wake up, and I started reading a devotion and just putting myself before God with some quiet time and just saying, God, I'm so unhappy, you know, show me where you want me to be in my life. I was willing to do anything. And I prayed that prayer for months and months and months every day, you know, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to live? And most importantly, who do you want me to be with? Because I felt like the future was very bleak where that was concerned. There was so much damage, so much hurt, so much pain that it was absolutely impossible for us to ever have a relationship again. I was secretly hoping he would call me because I felt like I needed more of that interaction from him. And and the phone rang. And so I picked it up, and for the first time I could not hold those emotions back. And we talked a lot, more than we had probably in the whole 15 years I had known him. At the end of that conversation, he asked, well, you know, what do you think? You think we could go to lunch or go for a walk? And as much as I wanted to say yes, I was so trained to say no and shut it off. I said, no, I'm sorry. You know, I care about you a lot, but I can't put myself back in that vulnerable place again. And we hung up, and it was terrible. The whole rest of the day was terrible for me. I felt like I was fighting with God all day. I remember him saying at one point in my spirit, he said, Krystal, you've been asking me what you want, where should you be with your life, and what do I have for you? And this is it. And I remember thinking, you're crazy, and then I felt crazy. And we wrestled back and forth all day, literally. And as I was laying in bed that night, we had exchanged the children later in the afternoon, and I didn't address it. And as I was laying in bed that night, I thought that I trusted God with my life. And I knew that he loved my children more than I loved them, if that were even possible, and that he wouldn't put me back into a situation and then leave me there. And so that's when I decided to text Mickey.
And I remember seeing that text message and my heart just fluttering. So I called her instantly, and she was crying so hard she couldn't speak. So I just sat for a few minutes and I listened to her. And finally I heard her say, I'm not sure why I'm doing this, but I guess I'm willing to see if there's still anything between us.
And he called me eagerly, and we made a lunch date.
Nobody's growing old together. We've made it easy just to quit. Love has become a negative percentage. Why do we bother to commit? We've got a long list of excuses, ways we try to justify. Well, I propose to you, the truth is, marriage does not have to die. I know you're feeling like it's falling apart, and it can't go on anymore. But God is a God who knows how to heal, so just give it up to the Lord, and He will restore. He said, with this ring I promise, and with I do, she said, forever. But right now, if they're being honest, they don't know if they'll stay together. Let's fast forward to the future. After struggling on their own, they finally figured out they needed Jesus in the middle. Now I'm watching God rebuild their home. I know you're feeling like it's falling apart, and it can't go on anymore. But God is a God who knows how to heal, so just give
Hi, I'm Mickey,
And I'm Krystal.
and we are Restored Marriage Ministry. We are so humbled to be following God's call on our life. Our prayer is that our story will bring hope to other relationships and will serve as a testament to what God can do if you surrender your life to Him.
We look forward to meeting you. Please contact us at www.restoredmarriageministry.com.